This wasn't supposed to happen. Daniel Craig, Hollywood's most composed spy, walks onto a late-night stage and ends up walking straight into chaos. What triggered it? Let's break it down. Daniel Craig, the man behind the modern James Bond, arrives on the set of Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote his latest thriller. But what begins as a standard promotional chat quickly spirals into one of the tensest moments the show's ever seen. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment with where you're watching from. You're going to want to see how this plays out. The atmosphere inside the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio is electric. Lights flash, cameras glide, the crowd buzzes with anticipation, and tonight, all eyes are on Daniel Craig. Still razor-sharp in his 50s, Craig walks with that signature calm intensity. He's here to talk about his new film, a tense political thriller centered on a former intelligence officer drawn back into the shadows. The role feels made for him. Serious, stoic, sharp. But Daniel doesn't exactly love these talk show circuits. The scripted jokes, the goofy games, the viral gimmicks. It's not really his thing. He's here strictly to talk cinema, nothing else. Backstage, his longtime manager Elise, always composed, always watching, senses the tension already. Earlier she warned the production team, don't push him. No skits, no stunts. They smiled, nodded, and immediately planned something anyway. They're chasing a moment, something clippable, something clickable. And Daniel Craig, international icon, forever Bond, is their golden ticket. In the green room, Daniel sits alone with a strong espresso, quietly observing a backstage monitor. Jimmy's opening monologue is in full swing, taking shots at celebrity scandals, tossing punchlines like grenades. The audience roars, but Daniel? He just watches, unblinking, fingers lightly tapping the chair arm, a habit Elise knows well. It means he's alert, calculating, reading the room. They're going to try something, she whispers to a tech nearby who just shrugs, unaware. And then it's time. The stage manager signals. Daniel adjusts his cufflinks, straightens his jacket, and heads for the curtain. No entourage, no theatrics, just him, steady and silent. Out front, Jimmy's rapping a bit about some musician's viral meltdown, then shifts gears. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the legend, Daniel Craig. The band hits a slick riff. Applause explodes, and Daniel steps out with that cool, deliberate pace. Like every movement is planned. He shakes Jimmy's hand, firm and brief, then takes his seat. The noise fades, the tension rises. Jimmy starts safe. Film questions, plot setups, talk about the character's moral code. Daniel responds thoughtfully, his voice calm, clipped and full of gravitas. The audience is hanging on every word. There's no act here, just a man speaking with purpose. But Jimmy's a showman. He needs something lighter, something viral. He lobs a joke. So, do you still do your own stunts? Or have you traded the Aston Martin for a nice, safe Prius? Daniel's smile is thin. I do what matters, he replies. The audience laughs, but there's a chill behind the charm. Not sensing the shift, Jimmy presses on. He pulls up an old story. Something about a prank on the Casino Royale set, hoping for a laugh. But Daniel's face tightens. That's not how it happened, he says. Flat, final. The room shifts. A few uneasy chuckles. Jimmy tries to ride the wave, reaching behind the desk, pulling out a goofy gadget, a plastic spy toy. Come on, Daniel, one quick pose for the fans? The crowd claps, expecting a fun moment, but Daniel doesn't move. His stare, ice. Put that away. He doesn't shout. He doesn't need to. The weight of his voice silences the room. Jimmy freezes, toy in hand. His grin fades. And backstage, Elise. She's already shaking her head, because what happens next, nobody was ready for. Daniel's chuckle is faint, tight, controlled. All right, no props tonight, he mutters, brushing it off and sliding the toy back across the desk. But the energy in the room shifts. The crowd, once laughing freely, now buzzes with uncertainty. Daniel hasn't broken eye contact, his gaze locked on Jimmy, like he's reading every layer behind the performance. Backstage, Elise clenches her jaw. She leans toward the stage manager and whispers, sharp and certain, I told you! Don't push him. The manager's sweating now. He signals toward the control booth, suggesting a commercial break. But up there, the director hesitates. Ratings are spiking. The tension? It's golden. They're not cutting, not yet. On stage, Jimmy shifts in his chair, trying to rescue the tone. Let's talk about the film, he offers, with an overly bright tone, as if injecting some sunshine will clear the clouds. He asks Daniel about the inspiration behind the story. An ex-operative fighting a shadowy corporate scheme. Safe territory, or so he thinks. Daniel leans forward, elbows on his knees. Voice low, calculated. It's about people who don't back down, he says, who don't let the world turn them into a punchline. The jab hits harder than expected. The audience reacts, some gasping, others applauding. Jimmy's forced grin tightens. His fingers tap nervously on the desk. Trying to recover, Jimmy lobs another question, this time about the film's production. But Daniel isn't finished. He cuts in, voice gaining bite. I came here to talk about real things, he says, eyes sweeping over the set. Not to be some late-night novelty for your ratings. The studio stirs and whispers mixing with applause. Some aren't sure if it's still an act. Jimmy falters. His usual charm isn't landing. He glances off stage. A floor producer waves frantically. Wrap it. But Daniel leans back and delivers the line that silences the entire room. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive, Jimmy. I don't need gimmicks to tell a story. The audience is split now, some erupting in support, others heckling, still unsure if they're watching TV or a turning point. Jimmy tries to reclaim the room with a forced chuckle. Hey, we're just having fun, Daniel. No need to take it so seriously. But his voice sounds hollow. The mask is cracking. He pivots again, this time trying to flatter. A question about Daniel's directing work, hoping to stroke his ego, bring him back down. It backfires. Daniel straightens. Fun, he says, voice laced with disbelief. You call this fun? Dragging people out under these lights, turning them into punchlines. He gestures subtly to the set, the lights, the band, the machine. The crowd is shifting again, louder, caught between thrill and discomfort. Backstage, chaos reigns. The director barks conflicting orders. The producer wants to cut. Another voice says, ride the ratings. Elise paces like a general in the war room. She knew this would happen. Daniel's face on the monitor is carved from stone. Jimmy stumbles forward with another softball. Out of all your roles, which one was your favorite? But Daniel interrupts again, his voice now carrying a storm. You don't get it, he says. This isn't about me. It's about respect for the work and for the people watching. The crowd explodes, some on their feet, others booing. It's no longer just an interview, it's a battleground. Jimmy tries one last time. This time, he drops the host act. Look, Daniel, we're just trying to give the fans what they want, he says, motioning to the crowd. They love you. They want to see the legend. A fatal misstep. Daniel's eyes flash. He leans in slowly, voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. They don't want a clown. They want the truth. Silence. For a moment, the entire room holds its breath. Then, a heckler yells something from the back. It's unclear what, but it breaks the spell. Jimmy leaps on it. Okay, quick break, folks, he calls, clapping, trying to reset. The band kicks in, brassy, loud, but Daniel doesn't move. His stare, still locked on Jimmy. And the audience knows this is far from over. The band plays louder, trying to drown out the chaos, but it's not working. The Jimmy Kimmel live studio is a live wire. The audience a storm. Some chant Daniel's name. Others shout for Jimmy to hold his ground. Everyone's on their feet. Some cheering, some filming, all caught in the spectacle. Jimmy stands center stage, smiling like nothing's wrong, clapping with forced cheer. But his eyes keep darting to the floor producer, who's nearly hyperventilating, begging for a cut to commercial. The cameras, still rolling. Every awkward second of it. Daniel hasn't moved. He sits like an anchor in the middle of the storm, gaze fixed on Jimmy, a stare that dares him to pretend this is still entertainment. Backstage, Elise curses under her breath. Watching Daniel on the monitor, she knows, he's not done. In the control booth, the director's torn. Ratings are astronomical, but control, slipping fast. As the music fades, Jimmy eases back into his chair, leans in low, off mic, but the front rows can hear it. Let's just cool it, yeah? Talk about the movie. Daniel's reply cuts like a blade, just loud enough for the front rows to hear. You had your chance. Phones are out now. Every moment is being recorded, already going viral. Jimmy's jaw tightens. He's not used to being challenged. Not here, not like this. He turns to the audience, playing to them. Folks, we love Daniel Craig, right? James Bond himself. The applause comes, but it's fractured, uneasy. The room's been split, and the charm's worn thin. Daniel leans back, arms folded, face unreadable. He's not here to win the crowd. He's here to say what no one else will. The stage manager signals Jimmy again. Wrap it up. But Jimmy shakes his head. Not yet. Not like this. He grabs a cue card, tries again. Let's talk about the cast. Incredible work from... Daniel interrupts, calm but sharp. You're not listening. The murmur in the studio dies instantly. This stopped being about the film the moment you turned me into a punchline. I'm not your prop. I'm not here to feed your late-night machine. The audience gasps. Some shout, "Tell him, Daniel!" Others boo. The divide is sharp now, electric. Jimmy's done pretending. The smile vanishes. His face flushes. "Come on, man," he snaps, trying to recover with a laugh that doesn't land. "It's just TV. We're all here to have a good time." Daniel doesn't flinch. "Not me." His voice is steady, unshaken. "I came here to talk about something real. You turned it into a circus." The words hit like a right hook. The studio erupts. Cheers, jeers, arguments between fans, chaos. Backstage, Elise watches it unfold with grim satisfaction. "Told you," she mutters. The director finally gives the signal. Commercial. Now the monitors flash to ads. The band cuts off. The studio lights dim slightly, trying to cool the air, but the room's still buzzing, volatile. Daniel hasn't moved, still seated, calm, defiant, his body language a message. This isn't over. Jimmy stands, turns sharply to the floor producer, whispering something with a clenched jaw. His frustration's boiling over. The audience isn't calming down either. Some chanting Daniel's name, others defending Jimmy. The room feels ready to split in two. Two security guys edge closer to the stage. Big black shirts, earpieces, but they hesitate. They know who's sitting there. They know better than to try to strong-arm Daniel Craig off a set in front of a live audience. Elise moves forward, grabs the stage manager's arm. "Don't even think about touching him," she says, low and fierce. He nods, backing off. Tension, still climbing. Behind the scenes, producers huddle like generals under siege, voices raised, half trying to salvage the episode, the others begging to ride the wave. The internet's already ablaze. Jimmy's pacing behind the desk now, running a hand through his hair, muttering under his breath. "I'm losing him. I'm losing the room." Meanwhile, Daniel sits. Sipping from a water bottle, a stagehand brought him. Calm, collected. His eyes scanning the crowd, not for applause but connection. A few fans in the front row lean forward, trying to catch his eye. "You're the man, Daniel," someone shouts. He gives the slightest nod, stoic, measured. Then the countdown starts. 5 seconds. The commercial break is almost over. The director's made a call. Daniel stays. But Jimmy needs to take control. Now The cameras flicker back on. The band cues up again, a cheery, brassy number that feels almost mocking. Jimmy steps forward. "Welcome back!" And the showdown continues. The lights come back on. But what's happening isn't just TV anymore. It's two men standing in a storm of cameras, pride, and something real. Jimmy Kimmel forces himself back behind the desk, face locked in that tight plastic smile. But Daniel Craig, he's not done, not even close. The studio lights snap back to full blaze. The band's final notes fade like background noise, swallowed by the energy in the room. A low hum from the crowd. Restless, ready, divided. The cameras are rolling again. Jimmy slides into his seat, like a fighter stepping into the ring again after getting rocked. He tries to reset the mood. We're back with the one and only Daniel Craig. His voice is light, too light, like he's trying to laugh off a punch. Daniel doesn't laugh, doesn't move. His eyes stay fixed somewhere beyond Jimmy, like the host isn't the point anymore. Backstage, Elise stands with her arms crossed, watching through the monitor. She knows this look. She's seen Daniel go quiet right before he drops something that changes the room. Jimmy dives into a question about the film's cinematography, hoping to ground things in safe territory. Daniel obliges, and at first, it's stark, raw, the landscape's its own character. But then he pivots. You know what's wrong with places like this? He gestures at the stage, the lights, the applause signs. You think it's about flash, noise, selling a moment instead of living one. The audience stirs, a few clap, others shift in their seats, the air tightens. Jimmy's jaw twitches, but he nods like he's not rattled. Fair enough, he says, then adds pointedly, but this is entertainment, right? People came for a show. He turns to the crowd, fishing for support. Some cheer, others don't. Daniel unshaken. They came for honesty, he says, not some polished soundbite to make them clap on cue. The words land like a slap. The audience erupts, some cheering, some booing. The room is a live wire. Jimmy grips the desk tighter, smile slipping. A signal comes from the floor producer. Wrap it. Move on. But Jimmy's pride is in it now, and pride doesn't like retreat. He leans in, tone sharper. Look, Daniel, you're a legend. No one's denying that, but this is my stage, and we have a show to do. The crowd feels it, the shift, the dare. Cheers, spike, tension thickens, Daniel's eyes narrow, just a fraction, but enough to make the whole studio hold its breath. Your stage? His voice is calm, almost too calm. I'm here because I chose to be, not to dance for you. The audience explodes again, some on their feet now, some chanting Daniel's name, others calling for Jimmy to fight back. Elise, backstage, mutters under her breath. Here we go. Security edges toward the stage again. Two men in black, hands twitching, still holding back. Jimmy's done playing nice. He stands, points at Daniel, breaking the one cardinal rule of late night. Never get up unless you're sure you've already won. You want to talk about respect? How about respecting the people who invited you here? His voice is loud now, strained, angry. The crowd roars, half in support, half in defiance, and that's when Daniel stands too. Slow, deliberate. He rises like the weight of the moment belongs to him, and he knows it. Respect's earned, he says, not bought with lights and applause. Boom! The audience explodes, the sound swells. The director is screaming in the booth to cut. Cut! Damn it! But the cameras are still rolling. The moment is electric. Two men, face to face, inches apart, the space between them humming like a live wire. Daniel's words still hang in the air. Respect's earned, not bought. The audience is feeding off the raw defiance. Phones are up. Twitter's already on fire. The world is watching. And Jimmy? His fists are clenched. His voice caught between rage and something harder to admit, doubt. The cameras are still rolling, defying the director's frantic screams to cut. Millions are watching live. Nobody can look away. Backstage, Elise's eyes are locked on Daniel Craig, her expression fierce, ready to step in if things go off the rails. At the edge of the stage, two security guards hover, exchanging glances. You don't manhandle James Bond, you just don't. Jimmy breaks the silence first. He steps back, trying to laugh, but it comes out as more of a cough. All right, Daniel, you've made your point. His voice is tight, stretched thin as he tries to pull the show back together. He gestures to the crowd, like a drowning man grabbing a life raft. Let's give it up for Daniel Craig, folks. A few claps, mostly noise, shouting, whistling, muttering. The room's too charged to be polite. Daniel doesn't acknowledge it. His eyes are still locked on Jimmy, weighing him. Not with malice, with intent, like he's deciding whether it's worth saying more. The floor producer, sweating bullets, signals security. Get him off now, he hisses. One of the guards steps forward, careful, respectful. Sir, let's take a walk. Daniel turns his head slowly. His eyes meet the guards. The whole set freezes. Don't! Not a threat, a command. The guard stops, backs off, hands up. He knows a line when he sees it. Elise bursts from the wings. her voice slicing through the tension. "He's leaving when he's ready." She glares at the producer, daring him to push it further, but Daniel raises one hand, silencing even her. He looks at Jimmy, then the crowd, his face unreadable. "I said what I came to say," he says. "That's final. No mic drop, no bow. Just truth." Then he turns and walks off stage, slow, deliberate, like he's walking through fire and not even breaking a sweat. The crowd explodes again. Some cheer, others just sit there stunned. Jimmy is left standing alone. The band scrambles for a tune. Anything to fill the void. He forces a smile, waves to the crowd. "Well, that was something, huh?" It's supposed to be a joke, but his voice is shaking and everyone can hear it. Backstage is chaos. Producers barking into headsets. The director screaming about PR damage. Tweets already flooding timelines. Clips going viral before Daniel even hits the green room. Elise catches up to him just as he grabs his coat. "Told them not to push you," she mutters. Daniel just nods, calm, distant, already past it. Outside, the internet erupts. Headlines, reaction videos. Daniel Craig didn't break. He broke the format. Meanwhile, Jimmy stumbles through the rest of the show, his usual rhythm off. Smile fake. The world's already moved on. Because this night, this moment, wasn't just about a guest walking off a talk show. It was about a man refusing to dance to someone else's tune. And that's the story, folks. The night Daniel Craig walked into a talk show and walked out owning the moment. If you loved this deep dive, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. We've got more stories coming your way that pull back the curtain on Hollywood's wildest unscripted moments. Drop a comment. Was Daniel right to draw the line, or did he take it too far? Where are you watching from? LA, Tokyo, or somewhere way off the grid? Like the video. Share it with a friend who loves when things get real. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. Until next time, stay curious, stay real, and I'm out.